Well, hello everybody. How lovely to see you. Today I'm doing a video about my top 10 most favorite eyeshadow palettes in my collection. So if you're interested in seeing what my top 10 is, starting from number 10, then just keep watching this video. But before you do, please do me a favor. If you're new to the Radiating Beauty with myself, Denise, then give this a thumbs up. Make sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification. That way you can come back and we can chit chat about all things to do with makeup and makeup fun. And with that being said, without further ado, let's get into my top 10 most favorite eyeshadow palettes in my personal collection. With number 10, my number 10 eyeshadow palette is this one by Huda Beauty. Do you remember the Desert Dust palette? Oh, you guys, like when this came out, I think it was my very first Huda Beauty product, period. And if you know me, you know I love eyeshadows. You know that I love like highlighters. Those are my two kind of most favorite sort of makeup things. But anyways, this was beautiful. Remember the eyes? Remember the eyes had it? Ooh, the eyes have it. But so incredibly beautiful. I actually collaborated with a great friend of mine and we did this amazing look. And I just love all the colors that were in it. I mean, there was just so many kind of like terracottas and warm browns. On this side, very warm. And then on this side, it was just kind of like more light and more airy and less warm. And I thought that the palette overall just had a huge diversity to it. And the strangest thing is, even though I'm very pale and my color is like cool based, I always go for super warm eyeshadows. And some of these have Royal right here, Turkish Delight, that just happened to be one of my mom's like most favorite desserts. I just think that there was few sort of eyeshadow palettes at the time that were really just kind of putting out those iconic, beautiful, you know, kind of combination of mattes and shimmers. You get the gist of it. True to its actual own word, Desert Dusk palette. All of those colors actually really sort of like called to me like a colors of the desert. And I mean, it just goes on and on and on. But it was definitely hard to put it in the bottom of my top 10. But I put it there mainly not because I don't still love the actual colors, because of its relevance. Number one, you know, we don't talk about that. That was years ago. And number two, I've kind of just moved on. You know, I probably purchased this when I only probably had 5 eyeshadow palettes in my collection. And now I have many more than that. So anyways, that was number 10. Number 9. It's one of those big palettes. It's a JACLYN Hill palette. And I had a hard time sort of like deciding if I wanted this to be number 9 or number 8, and I'll tell you why. But anyways, JACLYN Hill Volume 2. This was a total knee-jerk reaction sort of purchase because I had seen it just being released. I want to be able to talk about it, swatch it. But I think it was just a little bit more bold than the kind of looks that I would just normally go for. But there it is there. I don't need to remind you that it was just loved by so many influencers on YouTube. Absolutely some amazing, beautiful colors. There's lots of really great ones. I gravitated towards it when I want to just sort of sit here and try to create something just really funky and wild. And I've really enjoyed it for that reason. Anyways, that is number 9. Try put them over here again. If you hear a loud crash, just pray to the eyeshadow gods. This one was the one I waffled back and forth on. Should this palette, should it be number 8 or should it be number 9? I love this palette. I love the color story in it. Where it falls down is just performance. So I guess if I was going by performance, the JACLYN Hill Volume 2 even performs better than this. But the colors just, it was so hard. This is STILA. This is the After Hours eyeshadow palette. But you guys, look at the actual color story. I mean, this is completely wearable, totally up my alley. I mean, to swatch them in the store, I mean, it's down in lack of performance because they do not stay on the eye. because I also lay down an eyeshadow primer. It was just so sad, like the glitters, the metallics, and the actual like satin. Beautiful, beautiful. I just loved all of these colors. I think they were absolutely stunning. But sadly, they don't stay on the eye. I don't really know what to say. If you got an eyeshadow that you love, but it doesn't stay on your eye, then I don't really see what the point is. Okay, number 7. This was a tough one, and hear me out on this. Hear me out, all you haters that are about to rain down on my parade. I put it down this low because, not because of performance, not because of the shadows, because I just don't gravitate towards it enough to be in my top 5. I'm talking about this one. This is the Nastasha Denona Glam palette. I love it. I do not regret having it in my Nastasha Denona collection. I love Nastasha Denona's. Her mattes, she does mattes like nobody's business, girl. Loved by everybody. Absolutely loved. But I mean, oh, the colors. But I don't know. I don't know what it is. And they are everyday wearable colors, but some of them come off with a kind of like a grayish, ashy tone in my skin. While that's good because they're cool tone colors, that just doesn't really appeal to me. I know, like wah wah, but not because of performance. So do not come for me. Is the JACLYN Hill, the original #1 palette that she put out with Morphe, the one that blew up YouTube and everybody had to have. There it is there. Yes, it's another big Morphe eyeshadow palette. Well, they've kind of seen their day come and go. I still love this palette. It hits sort of all of the colors on the color wheel that appeal to me. And look, is it 3 or 4 years old? Maybe even older? And look, I mean, it's just, I mean, they're still popping colors. And for that reason, it is the JACLYN Hill Volume 1 palette that is in my number 6. Just because it's one of those big palettes. I love it. I'm so happy it's part of my collection. All right. Here is, drum roll please, my top 5 picks out of my top 10 eyeshadow collection. And this is kind of like, it's like play the violins. It's a really sad one because, there was nobody that wanted to see this makeup line expand and give us more wonderful, amazing products. I remember I was in a work conference the day that this was to be launched, and I literally had my cell phone, and I was on that website like, boom, I was in, baby. Within 30 minutes, not even, maybe 20 minutes, I was in, and I purchased the Tati Beauty Volume 1 Neutrals palette. We all know the sad story. Tati Beauty is now, it will be no longer. But having said that, we don't know down the road, wink, wink, nudge, nudge, but we don't know that Tati Westbrook may in fact actually launch another line because she certainly had the brains behind this. This was the most amazing, amazing palette because it provided a color story on each line, but with 4 different formulations. They gave you some cools again. I mean, these 3 lines right here are kind of in the cool category, and then these 3 lines really provide the drama, the sultry. Just made it be one of those iconic eyeshadow palettes that you wanted to have as an eyeshadow curator. Those glitters, the most unique, literally the most unique kind of like formulation, because they literally just, they stick down wherever you put them. They're completely stunning. A lot that went into this, the quality of the mattes, but still it was such a unique formulation, and the way she did, you know, all formulas in each line as you go up, I just thought that was brilliant. I mean, absolutely brilliant. So sad about that. So incredibly happy and fortunate that I have the Tati Beauty Neutrals palette in my collection because, because it is no longer a thing. This is actually number 4. And again, it's because it just wasn't iconic enough to get to the top 3. But this is the Nastasha Denona Face Glam palette. Hear me out. I know, not a true eyeshadow palette, but this 5, like in the mini, is the most perfect. I have it on my eyes today. Perfect everyday go-to eyeshadow palette for me. I use it all the time. Doing mattes and metallics, certainly the mattes, like I've said a million times. The way they lay down pigment, they don't skip. They are completely opaque and beautiful. I may, in fact, if I ever see, I'm not sure, was this limited edition? I thought it was. But if I see the dark, because this was the light version, I'll probably get the dark as well, just because, wow, I absolutely love this. I kind of just went, 1 was an easy one, but 3 and 2, they were tough, and I had to go with ones, again, that the color story just really called to me. So number 3 in that category will be the Too Faced Born This Way Natural Nudes palette, and here it is here. And, you know, I'm not a huge Too Faced fan, but having said that, you guys, the way they laid this palette out and went from basic oatmeals all the way up to these incredible, you know, rich espresso browns from the lightest color. And each one had a corresponding, you know, metallic. I just thought that was just, it was genius. It just made it so easy. That really don't have any idea for actual eyeshadows or the layout of them. This was just a beautiful design and layout, and it just made so much ergonomic sense. And even just the color curation of them was beautiful. So anyways, really super happy about this. I think recently, unless I misunderstood, that Too Faced used this layout again for another kind of like a more cool toned eyeshadow palette, something for the spring. But again, if I'm wrong, please leave a comment down below. But I thought I saw a hint of it or something. I just haven't seen it on YouTube, and I think it was on Trend Mood, but I don't know, can't find it. Purchased that specific palette for my mom. If you know the story, I lost my mom 2 years ago. It was very gut-wrenching, still is, but I purchased that for her for the last Mother's Day that, you know, she was well enough to use it, and because of the whole COVID and transportation thing, she got to use it literally 5 times before she passed. So it's not only just a beautiful palette in its functionality, but it's also got great meaning to me. So anyways, number 2 on my list of my top 10, this was a total no-brainer, because I say this is the palette that sailed 1,000 ships. And what I mean by that is it is the Naked 3 by Urban Decay, and it sailed 1,000 ships because I literally started my entire YouTube channel when this was being released, and was so excited for this palette. Probably one of the more popular sort of makeup brands that Sephora had and was talked about. But the color story, you guys, I have to hold it like this because the mirror is kind of wonky. But everybody knows this. I can't even show you some of the pans because now, you know, they've hit pan. I've hit pan. I mean, these colors worked in the Naked palette because they were just so functional and so beautiful, and they weren't too warm. And they weren't too cool. They were just right. Anyways, just beautiful. It was going to definitely be, as you know, the Naked 3 would never not be in my top 10 eyeshadow palettes, but really just, I have the best memories when I see this, when I swatch it. Sometimes I'll kind of throw a few more of the classic sort of colors, you know, in my eyes to kind of balance or like finish out an actual look. But definitely it's more the memory of the start of my whole YouTube channel way back when this was like iconic and, you know, a ride or die product. All right, drum roll again, because we are finally at the number 1 in my top 10 eyeshadow palettes in my collection. If you've watched my channel, you probably already guessed what this is going to be because you didn't see it in all the other numbers. And it is, it is Nastasha Denona's. It is the Retro palette, because I have said, and I'll say it right now, that if I was an eyeshadow palette, died and came back, and I was this innate object, This would be me in a nutshell. Because this is like perfection. Roses, burgundies, raspberries, some slight pops of a little sparkle. And even, you know, what it is about those burgundies and just rose colors that just make my blue eyes pop. But it does. It's Nastasha Denona, so I can totally rely on the mattes just blending out, not becoming dirty, and just looking amazing. Can't say enough about this palette. Definitely my number one. I hope you enjoyed this. And if you have the same sort of makeup aesthetic as I do and you're over the 50 plus group, please leave a comment down below. It would be so fun to just kind of read. Or if you disagree with any of the Nastasha Denonas that are lower on the bottom of this scale, please leave a comment down below. It's always so fun to interact with you guys. This was fun to do because, like I said, eyeshadow, highlighter, ooh, they are definitely like two of my favorite makeup products in the whole makeup realm. And as I always say at the end of all my videos, I wish you all an absolutely fabulous week, and I really do hope that you'll take care of yourself, make smart choices throughout the week, and we will see you all next week. Until then, bye you guys. Have a good one.